Okay, hi everybody. It's Mary Lynn Harris of Hard at Work, and I'm here with Anthony today. And I'm doing this podcast series, of course, how to create impactful legacy for your business. Usually about the topics about how you can improve your workplace to have a better workplace culture. But I always find the topics always end up deviate somewhere else, so that's all right. But anyway, welcome, Anthony, and I'm so glad that you were able to make the call today. And yeah, so I just kind of rereading your profile on LinkedIn. And so maybe you can just tell me a little bit how'd you get started doing what you're doing and kind of go from there.
Well, our company, Sower of the Seeds, I have a business partner, and we were starting a nonprofit at the
Okay.
time. And we're having a heck of a time getting our 501c3 set up and working on funding and things like that. So
Right.
needed another source of income, so we started a for-profit company.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because both of us had a business background, that's where we picked Sower of the Seeds, because we were working on business development,
Right.
opportunities and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had lighting experience back to 1986 and had an opportunity to get in to where we were representing lighting manufacturers. And that came up, and we took advantage of it. And then in 2016, took on our own lines. So at this point, there's 43 different manufacturers that we represent
Okay.
in the Southwest.
Okay. And so your is it your nonprofit then you intended to call it like something like kindness?
Well, our nonprofit is Make an Investment in Love and Kindness.
Right.
And that's why most people know us as Milk,
Okay.
because
Okay.
that's so much easier to say
Right.
and remember. So
Yeah. So tell me a
so
little
yeah,
bit about that.
well, our nonprofit, from the name, it's actually more of an action
Right.
than it is a name, to make an investment in love and kindness. We specialize in community development,
Okay.
and we see that as the best way to tackle poverty.
Right.
So we'll go into a community and work with that community based on what their culture is, what kind of activities are happening at the moment, and meet people where they're at, and then develop programs with particular people that want to lead to make it possible to start working and then building from there.
Right.
How do we continue to build up? So enterprise development is been one of our focuses, and one of the more successful programs where it's growing and building an
Mhm.
economy,
Right.
where it existed in the past. And then from there, we will do assistance with elders and people with disabilities and things like that, and try and develop entrepreneurial training in and around,
Right.
assisting other people in a community that need help.
Right. Right. So what are some of the programs that you're just building up now in those communities?
Well, Milk has Neighbor, Prayer in the Bear, Sacred, um, Mentors,
Mm-hmm.
and Native American Outreach are our programs.
Okay.
'Cause we do a lot of work with the Native nations, because it's an area that is most identified with poverty,
Right.
um, and they're just looking for opportunities.
Right.
So that's what we try and do, is go out and find out what they want to do, and their goals, and what can we put together to accomplish that.
Okay. So what kind of things have you been able to help them or assist them with?
We do well this year. this time of year,
Yeah.
we're getting ready for our fourth quarter outreach, which involves Christmas quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And originally, we were really working with foster kids, but at this
Right.
point, it's kind of expanded. So we will do where kids are adopted. So we
Mm-hmm.
have several different volunteers that adopt children. We raise funding to do so, and then we have strategic partners in place to secure products that
Right.
they absolutely need and don't have the resources to get on their own.
Right.
And this year has a lot to do with hygiene
Right.
in particular, this time of year. So elders and with young kids and teenagers as well
Right.
will be assisted. But last year we helped over 1,200 people for December
Mm-hmm.
outreach, and this year we're on target to do about the same, if not more. We
Right.
also put together wood because there's many people that still don't have running water and electricity.
Right.
So if there's elders or disabled and don't have anybody to get wood for them,
Mm.
or the means to purchase it,
Right.
we raise funds to get that wood. And generally, the way it works is we have a strategic partner in the area, and they will hire somebody. So there's a enterprise piece to it to
Mm.
go out and cut the wood and deliver it to the individuals that have the need.
Right. Right. And so
So
what
trying
is
to kill more birds with one stone.
well, yeah, you got to have use, people. The only way change happens is through people, right?
Right.
you know. So yeah, so it's kind of interesting. I understand the business part of it because we all got to make money, and then you have the other part of it, which is you're using your business as part of like a benefit fee. You ever heard of benefit fee?
It sounds familiar, but
Yeah, the benefit B part of it is you can have it as your business so that you can still have a nonprofit entity attached to your business. So, and that's the part where you were saying that you were trying to start the nonprofit first so you can give back to the community or work with the
right.
community, right? Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me some of the obstacles you guys have right now with whatever you're trying to do and how people can help you.
Well, time management is, absolutely one of the big things. And there's so much that we could be doing, but don't have the means or the manpower to make it happen. We have been able to add milk ambassadors. So we
Right.
have a group of women, and they don't necessarily have to be women.
Yeah.
We would absolutely love to be working with men as well. But these women have taken on different roles where they're working with some of our resources to get products. They are seeking donations from different places, organizing meetings so
hmm
that we keep on track, with where we're successful and not successful, and learning more and more about the nonprofit culture in
Right.
general and how it operates, because it is quite different than a normal everyday business.
Right. Right. Yeah. So yeah. So you're so how does one become as you put it an ambassador for your nonprofit entity?
Well, if somebody really wanted to step up and take on a leadership role, we're very interested in talking to them. A program partner,
Right.
would be thought of a little bit different than an ambassador. So if somebody has a situation that they need a resource for,
hmm
that is what Milk really loves to do. We do not repeat effort. So
Right.
if there is another organization that's already doing something to make a difference
hmm
and they need assistance, we'd love to work with them in coalition. But
Right.
if there is no resource for a situation, we will develop
Right.
what is needed to tackle those situations, and bring hope and direction, that a lot of people just may believe that nobody cares, or that just is the way it is. And that's not true. We just have to put our heads together and make opportunities that
Right,
hadn't existed, make them happen.
right, right. So you're looking for a lot of program partners.
Program partners, and and individuals, group leaders
Mm-hmm,
that know how to operate from a grassroots perspective,
mm-hmm.
and are willing to grow.
Right,
And from an administrative standpoint, that's kind of what the ambassadors do, is they would be able to take on those individual program partners,
right.
and work with them from that point. Or if we put something together and they need resources, the ambassadors go out and seek the resources necessary to put
Mm-hmm.
make the goals
Right, right,
achievable.
right. So how do you see that maybe companies or workplaces can come on board? Is that what you would use the volunteers for, or would they?
We Yes, we have done things in the past with Kohl's, Intel,
Mm-hmm.
places like that that have volunteer programs, are existing, doing like back to school with backpacks,
Right.
wrapping presents, for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's so many different
Mm-hmm.
ways to do outreach, and we do not want to limit somebody. So if a company has a particular style of outreach that they've put together, and come to us, we would probably have a reason to utilize it.
Okay. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about. I know we talked briefly about love and kindness, and it is a
Yes.
verb. So I guess the love and kindness is what, just helping other people give to each other, or what do you see it as?
Well, exactly. And true love is sacrifice.
Right.
So to make a difference, we really have to be willing to make some sacrifices.
Right.
And that's the culture of poverty. It goes on from generation to generation, and they just don't believe that they have the means
Mhm.
available to them. But we have to be the means
Right.
that somebody doesn't have, and be willing to say yes when something's presented, but may not have a clear cut idea of how that's going to happen to begin with.
Right.
And we you know, we're working with community groups and things like that up until 2012, and then went out on our own.
Mhm.
So we have a slogan that we keep with us that's running on faith since 2012.
Mhm.
And so often, we'll take on projects and things, and our CFO, Barb Scott, will say to me, how, we're so far behind, this isn't going to happen. I'm like, you just got to keep the faith. And all of a sudden we'll get a call and something comes through, and,
Yeah.
it all works out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's always interesting. But what I always say about God is just it always comes through. It's always the last
yes,
minute. But yeah.
yes. And I mean, that is one of the definitions of God, is love.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the sacrifice and making it happen. And we always take an empathetic approach,
Mhm.
which is the action,
Mhm.
whereas a sympathetic approach, is, kind of on the surface of a situation, but may not be a call to action.
Right. Right. Great. So you've given us quite a bit of information already, Anthony. So can you maybe give us some stories or some success stories you'd like to share about?
Well, with enterprise development, for example, we
Hmm.
had a Navajo woman that what is a traditional rug weaver,
Okay.
and a gentleman that I was working with and do business with, had been coming across Navajo Nation and stopped and was interested in a rug. and
Mm-hmm.
buying a rug, but it was $12,000, and he didn't want to buy it from a trading post,
Right.
from a non-native. So he reached out to us and asked, if we could do something. So we talked to our partner in Tuba City, and she knew of a woman in one of the nearby chapters that did produce rugs.
Mm-hmm.
So she, through the internet, was able to send us a couple different designs, and he chose a design. And we, through enterprise development, were able to contract her to put the rug together.
Right.
And we were able to go out and visit her. She lives in a trailer with no power and
Mm-hmm.
running water from a well. And she raised her own sheep and spun her own wool,
Mm-hmm.
and used the traditional way of putting the rug
Yeah.
together, and
Leaving
built
it.
that for him. But we were able to give her $10,000 and keep $2,000 for wood, the
Mm-hmm.
wood project that year. So those are the kinds of things that when it comes up, it's like, well, we're not sure how, but we
Yeah.
know why. And now all we need is a what, when, where.
Right.
And
Right.
that's kind of the way we approach it, and just keep talking to people until it can all come together. And that was a situation, and pretty much that was her whole year's income,
Right. Yeah.
that we were able to put together. So
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. That's a great success story of working with a client and resource and partnering everybody up. So it's sort of like
yes,
um, SOS, or love and kindness is sort of about being a resource center, being the concierge department.
right.
you know. So anyway, so that's awesome. So anything else you want to share before we kind of end the call?
Not that I can think of. Our success has definitely been in proportion to working with people,
Right.
and being able to go out and have the conversations necessary to put together the teams, and then be willing, even if it's not our complete how we thought something was going to happen, to trust a little bit in other ways, and work with people, and just be in awe and wonder
Right.
of the results and how it all came together, and just be thankful for the opportunities to be able to work on projects that make a
Yeah.
difference.
To serve. Yeah. Serve the community. Great.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks very much for joining me today, Anthony. I so appreciate that you were able to hop on the call.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
I'm sure we will have another conversation at another time.
All
And
right,
okay.
that'd be
So
wonderful.
that'd be awesome. Okay, thank you everybody for joining Hard at Work. You can find our call or our conversation on podcast.hardatworkonline.org. And Anthony will be posted up there, and I'll certainly let you know when he's up next. Okay, thank you for joining us, and be kind.